Let's see. Let's check my volume here real quick to make sure I'm up to snar. I am up to snar. What up? Snar. Hold on real quick. Let me see if my channel's up and running here, and we'll make talky talk. Looks like I'm live. I can make some talky talk. Cool. I'm gonna drop that volume down there so I don't echo without being a bot. And I'm gonna grab the link here, and I'm gonna go through my origin story here real quick. I'll regale you with my tales, and then we'll get to work here. So, hey, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games, I illustrate them, I publish online, and I have been creating basically D&D content. Let's see, I've been running D&D games since 1987. Thank you. I'm on track now. And I've been using the Eberron campaign setting since 2006, and I've been creating DMsGuild content, creating 5th edition content on DMsGuild since 2017. And so I started off as an illustrator and eventually transitioned into making games. I have monochromatism, which is I see 0 color. I am 100% grayscale. And I had began freelancing, doing black and white art. That was all the art that I had seen in Dungeon and Dragon magazine when I was a kid. So I aspired to grow up to be an illustrator. And since I don't see any color, I figured color, interior illustration would be great. But I got to that point, and then color became affordable in the 2000s for anyone to use. So I had to upgrade my game. And that was a big freak out for me because how am I supposed to paint in color if I can't see any color, right? A big problem. So I figured it out, and we're gonna look at that process today as I do some additional painting. This is a book cover that I created for the adventure that we're creating right now that I'm illustrating and produced and play tested with Andy Headley, the old goat, and Stuart Braz, who is an excellent librarian for the Eberron campaign setting and a great editor, and he's been on a number of projects that I've worked on the DMsGuild as well. So big faith in Stuart. The Crystals of a Bar, 4 to 5 characters, level 7 to 8 in the Eberron campaign setting in the Carnwood in the nation of Karnath on the continent of Corvair, fighting undead and necromancers in the woods. This was created back around episode 40 of this art stream that we're working on. I have the X Twitter platform. If you're on X Twitter as well, you can tag along at Phil Kearney if you want to get notifications when I'm live, coupons and stuff like that. Here on the YouTube, we're at episode 306, and you can see the full creation list here. At episode 40 is when I made this book cover, so you can check that out. Here's a slew of other books that I've created that are already on the DMsGuild. They have extensive free previews. Just check them out. There's probably about 300 pieces of art between those books. That a lot of which I created here online, so you can check out previous streams if you're interested. There's a ton of them. Let's see, my Twitter here. Here's my Patreon, and on the About page on Patreon, I have a Discord community that's free for use. You just got to get there. And here is a link to monochromatism, so that you can learn more about what full color blindness is like. But yeah, I only see grayscale. So when we paint a full color picture like this, I was not able to do so until Photoshop. Back when I was 5 years old, I would watch Bob Ross while playing Legos, and there was an episode where Bob had gotten into a conversation with a colorblind guy, and he was like, "How can I paint like you?" And at 5, it was obvious to me that this guy's actually saying, "Hey, I don't see any color. How am I supposed to mix colors?" Bob used his techniques using just grayscale, but again, he didn't say this, but I could hear it. Even at 5, I could hear it in his voice. What he was actually asking was, you mix colors on your palette and you paint. How could I possibly do that? And obviously grayscale is a thing that anyone can do. I was doing freelance illustrations in grayscale for years. But the color is an issue. So one of my friends challenged me to just figure it out. God bless you, Larry. You are a king among kings, man. It's just like simply like, why don't you just try to figure it out? Have you even tried? I'm like, honestly, I had never even tried. So Photoshop became a thing around that time, as did tablets, and I used just a little 6x9 Wacom tablet, super fun. So the way I basically color like comics, but since I don't see any color, I use the internet and Photoshop to search for references. So we're just gonna go and we're gonna look for Shadow Ranger. Let's just Shadow Ranger art. Let's just do that. Oh, of course I'm gonna get Power Rangers. That's the Shadow. Let's just go with Woodsman green armor. Let's see how that works out. So I can see that there's art here. I'm not sure if I'll be able to attribute this to anybody. Human Fashions, Lord of the Rings, Lotro Forum. Okay, so let's just grab some Lord of the Rings online artwork here real quick. We're going to copy the image. I'm then going to import the image into Photoshop, and we're going to check out some of the color references here. So if you check up here in the upper right hand corner, you can see we're set to a 000 RGB, which is black, and then I flip it, it goes to 255, 255, 255. That's 100% white. So grayscale folks see something in a degree between black and white, but when you pick a color on something that has color, you can see the RGB here. So that RGB is my color eyes. I work in contrast. The only thing I can see is the differentiation between white and black. So when I make art, I like to have contrast. One of the complaints that people that see in color have at the higher levels is that the color palette will trick them into thinking there's contrast there when there isn't. So they'll have two tones that are actually, let's see if I can find any. Like this, for instance. See that greenish in the background there? It's a meadow field. And then we move into this, and it's like maybe probably like a tan color. But look at this. See, look over here. These two things are very, very close in contrast, right? They're only off by maybe on a scale of 1 to, if I were to do percentiles, right? They're like maybe 10% difference from each other on a scale of 0 black, 10 white. That's about like a 5 and a 6. So very, very close. Obviously, it's just a casual interaction thing here. It's even being clipped by the picture. But if contrast was important, if this was an organized composition, you can see back here, this tree line way back here is just grayed out. No, that's a wall. So that wall's grayed out back there, and it's almost the exact same color. You can see how these colors are oscillating here. The RGB lever is blippily blopping between mildly blue and mildly red. The blue, I know because of context, that blue is coming in because of atmospheric disturbance. Anything, the further away it gets in open space, the more bluish it's going to get during the daytime because the sky is blue. So as more sky gets between you and it flipped out, and I thought it was going to be a really cool shtick. So the more sky that gets between you and the sky, the less you can see. Sorry, I'm trying to do a bit with my camera. So things become more blue as they move further away. And this is a mild, low saturation color that we're looking at here, which tells us that it's like a leather, like probably a tanned leather. But there's virtually no contrast here or here, and then this is just the most vague of greens here in whatever these armored sleeves are. But I like that greenishness because the Emerald Claw green. Emerald Claw is the necromancy organization that's the antagonist in the adventure. So I like to have green on their armor to indicate, bad guys. So I'm going to grab up, there's some greenishness we've got going on in this armor, and I'm going to see if I can make that my default color when we go in here to start building out color. So let's see, we're going with like a leatherish motif here, so I can just block it in. And this is going to be like bare arm and hand and stuff, but that doesn't matter right now. All we're really, in a true comic book style, we are just blocking, they call it blocking in flats. So this is just a flat color, And when we finish blocking this in, we'll be able to use the color layer to get rid of any stray black and white art that's laying, line art that's laying around that's not part of the actual color composition. So we're just going through the process here. We're gonna block this in, and then we're probably gonna find some other colors to block in, like buckles and armor and pouches and the sword and all that stuff. We're gonna block all that stuff in to have a flat comic book style flat color rendition, and then we'll do detail work. And detail work is just detail work. It's just at that point, detail is texture and lighting. That's all details are. But the way that I create art is I make for the professional stuff. If I'm doing a book cover, it's not necessarily that case. So there's two answers here. There's when I'm making tokens, like for maps and adventures and stuff. The tokens, they're black and white, and then I color separately so that you can print out the tokens on a laser printer on a sheet of paper. We'll tile them on a piece of paper, so you can just like put through like 3 or 4 pieces of paper and get all the individual tokens that you need. And then I provide them as separate files in color for you to use in a virtual tabletop. All the maps have a black and white version, and the ones that are larger than can fit on one page, we cut up the map and then number it so that you can position all of the map pieces properly on the table. I like to lay out pieces of map at the time. As they continue moving across the map, you add on another piece of map and you take away an old piece of map. So you can have like a rolling 3 pages of map that the characters are traversing across, left, right, up, down, diagonally. You always have 3 maps: the one that they're on, the one that they're heading to, and the one that they were on previously. When we're talking about like overland, like 3-mile visibility type stuff, you can have rolling maps like that, or in well lit indoor environments at the 5-foot scale. Like if we use 11 by 17, you can cut those into 10 by 10 inch blocks, and so those 10-inch blocks can represent 50 feet of movement. So you can just tile down as you go 50-foot block maps, and you can tile those all out. So a 10 by 10 block of 10 by 10 inch tiles ends up being a 500 by 500 foot space. Which is like I think soccer fields are like 250 feet. So it's like 4 soccer fields. So that's the size of the maps that we're working with. So we have the black and white versions at the 5-foot scale, the black and white versions, and then the color versions. We include all the color versions in the map, in the book, of course, for the visuals, and then as separate files in the book. When you download it for virtual tabletop, all the maps are there. Black and white for easy printing, and then color for the virtual tabletop and interior book visuals. And then there's actual book cover and illustration style, where I don't have a black and white version first that I then colorize. It's just a painting. So just a painting, he says. But I make the painting more traditionally, like blocking in color and adding like that, but not with hard line art like this. But we'll use gradient and texture and stuff inside of here. But these tokens are only 1-inch tokens, so there's only 300 pixels across, up, and down. So the amount of detail that I can put in is limited by the resolution of the image. And online, for instance, an online image has 72 pixels per inch. So high detailed pictures are really large, because you can't zoom in quite the same way as you can with Photoshop or your own eye in print. So online, you have a 72 pixel lock per inch. So if you want a 500-inch map, it's going to be 3,500-ish pixels. as opposed to 3,500 pixels in print would be like 6 inches. But you can pack in a lot more information because the resolution is so much higher in print than it is online. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. This is just a color flat layer, just like getting a base, just to be able to define positive versus negative space. And it has a really good silhouette. So when you're building tokens, you want to have decent silhouettes so that you can, like at this level, at a glance, you can tell this is a swordsman with some sort of draping cape stuff going on. So this is the only character in the adventure that has this pose. So it will be obvious that and this character's name is the Houndsman. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to add layers. So we're going to be layering things up. Let's do a search for Shadow Mastiff 5e. And we'll go to images and let's see. That's a pretty good one. Do we have an artist's name on this one? 5e Tools. That's probably going to be a no. But let's see. Conceptopolis. Maybe let's check it out. Art for entertainment. Conceptopolis. Neat. All right, well, we're sampling your Shadow Mastiff artwork today, kind sirs. Maybe this will be faster, because that site seems down. Ooh, good stuff. So, Conceptopolis, check these dudes out. I'm borrowing their color work for the sake of my own illustration. So, I just wanted to give you credit. I really appreciate you being here and helping me as a visual artist as well. So, let's see. We're going to copy image, the same as before. We're going to import it. Let's bring that down so it's within range. Now we have a color that we can use for his cape and his draping. I like that blue. I'm going to use this as the base color here, and we've got the shadow bit here, and we have highlights here, so we'll get into those. For now, since I know he's a beast master that has shadow mastiff pets, shadow creatures, and I always find it ironic that he would wear a pelt of them. And it's not like it's not morbid. It's to smell like them. That's why you do stuff like that. That's why you see that. It's like, I smell like you. I am your boss. And they're like, oh, we're just dogs. We're okay with that. Over, and then we've got up here. So, like, to stick with that contrast idea, we'll want him to be white or Asian or very pale, so that his skin can pop from the dark frame around it. Most of the ethnicities most ethnicity differences I make in my illustration is based off of this idea of contrast. Do I need light or dark skin to contrast against the outfit that they're wearing? And whatever the most dominant color on the piece is, in this case, is his armor. So his armor is going to be the dominant piece, the dominant color in the frame. So that means that I put in the armor color first, and from there I work in contrast from there. And I want to step from like light, medium, dark, or light, dark, medium. I want to have, like, on a scale of 1 to 3, I want to have 1, 2, 3, or 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 1, 3, 2, 3, 1, 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3. See, in there I had 3, 3. I'd have to fix that because I want to try to break up and have as much contrasting colors adjacent to each other as I can, so you have that striation effect of being able to easily separate each element from each other in the composition. And I can easily do that with contrast. It helps with the readability of the piece immensely if you have high degrees of contrast in adjacent positions in your composition. So once I figure out what's the dominant color, everything around that will then guide the ethnic appearance of the character that we're depicting. There, I think I've said that clumsily enough, often enough, that you probably get it at this point. But some things just naturally set themselves up well. Like swords are going to naturally be a lighter grayish material, so it's like a mid to high tone. Versus like a glove is often going to be like a dark leather glove, and greaves and stuff, pauldrons. So those are going to be more of a medium to dark. So I'll go from light to medium to dark with a dark hilt, and then like a medium or dark tone for a glove, and then I can either go light or dark. I can go light or medium for the armbands. Since I have the shadow backdrop, I'm going to want the armbands to be light. I'll probably make the gloves dark. I'll leave his arms bare to be at the light end of the spectrum to match his face, and then we'll work out some mid-tones for the leggings and the boots. So we should have a decent little degree of separation between the different elements like we were just talking about. So I'm going to drop those things in place here. There we go. So we're gonna have a greaves, like a mid-tone pant color, probably. Let's see if there's a decent color we can pick up off of here. I bet these are reddish. Yeah, mildly reddish. I would expect that from like leather boots, you know. But what about up here? Those are much brighter. Here, that feels like that's a shield. So I think what I want are oh, that's what I want to do. I want to put a search in for buckskin greaves. It's not a bad color. It's a little brighter than I want. Those shod boots are pretty good. That's kind of the. I have an upturned toe, like a cleft. But leather sabaton foot armor. I like that. Sabatons look good. Ooh, maybe this is Gladiator Greaves. These were from ACI Toys. Displayed armor, ACI Roman Gladiator Greaves. These were for customers' personal collection. Maybe a little dirty. Okay. Copy image. I'll have to do a screen capture because Amazon's a bitch. This is Marketplace Depot. I'm not a fan of where did my, there it is. New. Let's snippet this. Physical object. Again, I have no color. I literally do not know what color this is. So let's find out. There we go. It's reddish, so it's probably like a dirty steel. No, steel's generally blue. This might be like a bronze. That sounds about right for Romans, right? Bronze metal, I think they had. So it doesn't feel wrong. I kind of like that. I'm gonna save that on the side in case I want it, but it's not what I want. So let's bail out of that. Let's get back up into, let's check this out. Oh, this is plastic. I don't want to use that. It's gonna have a weird leather gray. Ooh, I like that internal color. That's a good one. This is gonna be a good one. Hold on, I'll show you. Good. Just doing a double check. There. All right, so check this out. This is what I'm looking at. You probably saw it already, but I'm looking at this interior. Ooh, a bright red. And out here on the outside of it, getting a mild blue read. Huh? So that red is too. Look how sharp that saturation is. I don't think a ranger that's skulking in woods would want to have a bright contrast like that. So this is not a good piece. Yeah, that's not a good piece. The outside's okay though, so we can keep track of that. But let's go back to let's begrudgingly check this one out. Padded greaves natural. These padded greaves an essential base layer. Blah blah blah. Let's grab these. Maybe this will be good. So we have to, kind of like how a lot of content creators have to search around to find appropriate stock art to put in their piece. I have to search around to find proper art to color reference so I can then spend hours creating the art. Yeah. So let's see, what is this? Oh, that'll do. Yeah. I like that. That'll do. I'm going to stick to the darker side of it though. So let's go down towards that range there. That feels good. All right, cool. I'm going to bunch these into a reference folder, REF. There we go. Now I'm going to step over that, and we can add the base layer here. This is that buckskin color that we were looking for. And I'm going to block in, again, we're blocking in the whole area and we're covering it over. So. I'm going to leave that blank. Yeah, let's just leave these. Let's not color those over. We'll find probably a dark leather for those. Recanting. Now let's fill in the gap up here. Fill in the gap there. Looks good. Oops. Go for that mid-tone on the glove like I was talking about. Nah, we'll go barehanded. So we don't need a lot of references there, but we have enough. Let's go back to our reference. Grab here. Let's grab those boot colors down here. There's a neutral. Yeah, that feels pretty good. We can do the same here. So the boot cover color is also going to be the pouches. We're going to put highlight. So this is going to deepen further into shadow here on the cloak, and we're going to put highlights on these pouches. So this will dive deeper into dark, and this will become lighter. So it'll create more more contrast. But I'm liking this. I'm liking this base color here. I think that can work. So do that there. Now we're going to leave his hands empty. And we're going to darken, we can use this to darken the hilt here. And we can add that in as a layer here. And yeah, that feels right. And we're going to use bare skin on his arms here. We have the color of armor already established here. Bare arms, bare hands, bare face, and a little bit of neck poking through. There we go. So pretty simple concept, not an overly complicated piece. Very simple elements, but it's just a token, low resolution. So we're working our way through the piece, finding the bits that we need, and here's our, I think, yeah, let's go with that. So we're going to want to have more pale skin so it stands out in contrast here. Or we can also, like for instance, highlight here, right? And then put in a little bit of tail light in there. Oops. Basic sword action going on there. We'll be able to add in a little bit of gradient as we go, but that's a decent bit. Let's see, what's the next thing? We should probably go find some flesh. Yeah, flesh tone is the only remaining thing that we really need. So let's just check out this guy here. Yeah, you look white enough for me. Cheers. Again, we want that contrast. This is very similar in gray value and tone. This is nearly identical to the buckskin greaves that we have underneath. So that to me is consistent, and to you is going to look different though. But that's some decent contrast going on there. I like how that sits. All messages you send will appear publicly. Okay. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so those are our flats. It's very, very simple design. As you can see here, we have like light, medium, dark, light, medium, lighter, medium, dark, light, and then we're going to further contrast this with highlights and shadow, and that's when we start working in the contrast. So where are we at right now? 7:24. Got about 10 minutes left on the clock, and then we're gonna have another. We got about 30 minutes. So we can keep at this for a bit. Let's see. Duplicate this layer. There. So I outlined, I have the, so let's do that again. I highlighted the color layer for, that we laid down, the absolute base layer, right? And then I highlighted it, and then I inverted the highlight. Select, invert, right? So now I'm selecting out here, not inside here, here, not inside here. And then I go up to this layer, the line art, right? And then everything out here I delete. And that's what causes this. So now we have a clean outline, a clean line art outline for the whole piece. And now before we get into detail work, I can come in and clean up this line a bit. There you go. That feels pretty good. Let's do a little bit of cleanup here before we keep on keeping on. Good. We'll get back to coloring here in a moment. I just wanted to do some quick line art cleanup. Truth be told, I'm always a little intimidated when I begin detailing on a color piece. So this moment I'm taking to step back into the black and white is actually a confidence builder. Although it is true that I want to do some line art cleanup here, I think it's evident that it's necessary. But what it's actually what it is emotionally for me is an opportunity for me to take a breath without, you know, stopping work, because what you want to do is keep working. Past the boredom and past the monotony, and you just got to keep working, because you have to push the pixels. The pixels, well, not only have AI, the pixels kind of do push themselves, but you don't have any control over them if you don't have part of the. There's no sense of real pride in pressing a button, having an art piece. People that share their AI work aren't people that want to create art. They want praise. So they're pressing a button to create an image that they then post and say, "Hey, look what social media, look what AI did," and people that like AI will praise them for having posted it, and they get an emotional fix. Actual artists get emotional fixes from figuring out problems inside of the illustration and showing the completed piece, saying, I figured out how to create this image, and it turned out looking aesthetically pleasing. Because art is problem solving. The problem is that I'm trying to depict something that doesn't actually exist. So it has to be recognizable. The parts that do exist, the things that you know that exist, have to be recognizable, so that you can infer what the things are that you don't know. Like we don't know what a shadow mastiff is, right? Technically, they aren't real, but I am depicting one currently as basically wolf, like a very lupine creature, right? Like a wolfish thing. It's almost like a boar, but whatever. That's just me being a shitty artist. I'm probably going to fix the whole face anyway to actually match up with the Shadow Mastiff and the adventure looks like. But I'm happy with this for now. Let's go up here and clean up that sword tip. There. Not bad. Yeah. Okay, cool. So back to color. Let's see. Let's get down here and we can clean up that line a little bit. Now we're going to make sure that our lines are good here for each individual color layer. Hey, how about that? We'll definitely get. We should be done with flats today, which means that when we come back tomorrow, we'll probably just be doing detailing tomorrow. So I'm going to push this through so that all the different flat layers are smooth, like cleaned up like that, right? Let's let's drop away the layers that we have already, so that we can stay centered on what we're actually working on and the time that we're working on it. So we do outline cleanup here. So now that the line art is cleaned up, we can make sure that the color that we have stays inside of the line art that we want to keep, right? Make sense? Of course it does. Because my viewing audience are smart. Not like those other guys. So I'm here, currently I'm here 9 times per week. Sometimes Monday night is currently not a stream night because I'm playtesting the Martial Power System, which I do stream the development of the Martial Power System. I did yesterday at lunchtime. I will do so, what is this, Wednesday? Tomorrow night I'll be on stream continuing the Martial Power System development. Actually, I'll be working on monk subclasses specifically for the Forgotten Archetypes 2024 book that I've been recruited to assist with. All the archetypes for all the classes that aren't in the player's handbook is going to be in the supplement that I've been recruited into, and I've been delegated monks. So I am working on the monks, and that's helping because that's great because we had already spent a number of weeks in the Martial Power System on the Martial Power stream, creating alternate 2024 subclasses for monks, using the power system, the Martial Power system that we created and that we're currently playtesting. Yay! Freaking yay! Cleaned up. There. Just keep outlining our line. Get that done. Good. That's pretty clean. That looks pretty clean. We're almost done with our loop, and then we'll start in on the next one. I think this is where the coloring started. Yeah, so let's go ahead and work our way around the bottom of the boot. There. Okay, cool, clean. Now we'll add in the shadow pelt. And we'll have that as consistent in conforming to its own line art as we did for the full piece. So this all looks pretty good down here. Let's clear that away. Good. There. There we go. Almost done with the cleanup here, and then we'll move on. So we're doing cleanups on all the flats, and once the flats are done, then we'll start doing texture and lighting. But I'm almost done with my session for this morning, so I'll be back tomorrow morning to finish that out. Yeah, it's 7:30. I've got like maybe 15 minutes left, so we'll be able to get done with the flats today, and we'll dive right into color from there. Yeah, that'll do. All right, back over to here. Let's erase. Here and here, that feels good. There. Here. Just a little slice. Inside there, bare arms here. Right, bare arms, cannot. There we go. Now we'll do patch leather. Ooh, leather. Here, that looks pretty clean. That's good. There we go. Good. And yeah, that's all that. Okay, good. And here, flesh tone. Make sure we get all that. This might be approaching here. No, that's right. Yeah, that's all good. Okay, cool. Skin. Right. Skin. Good, good. He doesn't have a lot of it showing, so I don't have to worry about it a lot. That was easy. And sword. We all have swords. All right, properly blocked in. Where are we at? 7:40. We got 10 minutes. Okay, let's work on the pelt because that's the largest piece that we're looking at right now. So, taking our Shadow Mastiff art here. Here's a this is a much darker space here, and here is some. Let's see. That feels good. Good contrasts there. So we'll hide him. Let's go down to the pelt and then highlight layer. We'll add another layer on top of it. So we have the folder for the pelt, and then we have the base color for the pelt, and now over the base color, let's look at our contrast real quick. There's our highlight, and then there's our shadow. Those are decent contrasts. So we can stick here and we can now drop shadow into, first we're going to drop it in around the form of the body because the light went obviously way back in here as well. Because his body is going to block light getting to the pelt. And I'm just gonna take and blend. Where are we at? Let's go down to 40%. So we're gonna have about a 40% blend here. So I'm just taking these shadows that we're establishing around the body's frame and pulling those using a smudge tool, pulling that dark shadow away from the frame into the pelt. So the pelt will have a little mottled, like a little modelly, M-O-T-T-L-E-Y, a mottled look. And then here, again, around the base of anything that is not the pelt, we darken. There, we darken here, we darken here and here. We'll darken around the edges here, down here. And then we'll darken along the edge up here. We'll darken into there. And then again, we'll pull away from the edges in towards the center of the piece. Oh, here's some dark. darken this, doing the same thing, pulling away from the shadow into the pelt. Like that. And then we'll just use the contours of the fabric itself, the shape that it's making for itself, and we'll use that as our cues for where we add the shadow in. So you can see here. Down. So we have the shadow first, and then we'll add the highlights on top of it. There. I spot a bit of line art I don't like. There. That feels pretty good. I like that. That's a good pose. That's a good face. I like the expression. It's kind of got a bleak pensiveness to it. Add a new layer for the highlights. Here's the highlight color that we picked off of our reference. And that's coming from this highlight here. So we're going to look at where's light going to hit on the pelt here. That's going to be where we want the highlights to pop. And I can actually have that drop further down in the dark as it gets further towards the bottom of the page. So just a little bit of highlighting, maybe a little sparble of light in here. Cool. Okay, let's see if that works. So we're gonna this is a separate layer from the shadow that we've done already, so I can't really screw anything up. So right now we're adding the basic lighting, and then there's I see some opportunities inside of here for us to do some additional texturing, which we will do after we finish the base lighting and highlights and shadow work that we're working on here. So when we come back tomorrow, I'm going to be running out of time here pretty soon. Erase there. We're going to keep this in here. Erase along there. We can add more shadow in here. Now that that highlight is creating contrast, we can sharpen that contrast with the darkness that we have that then bleeds out. Like that. And then we can darken up this whole base here. Yeah, that feels good. All right, let's continue with these highlights here. And then, like I said, we'll do. We have some neat little texture tricks that we can use for the fur later on when we get there. Break up a little bit so it's a little less clean, a little more organic-y. 30 or 40-ish% eraser to cause that highlight to fade out a little bit as it moves further down the tabard. And then we're adding in highlights here, like that. There we go. Smudging it in, just getting some lighting in there. Again, we want to pull away from the edges so it doesn't bleed into other materials. That's what I'm looking for. I've got my eraser going with my 20% strength, so I'm going to use that to hem away at some of these highlights here, like towards the bottom of the paw. There. And you can see like these little pock marks and stuff that are starting to show up inside of those highlights. That's a way for us to be able to add texturing to the highlights by eroding the lighting and the shadow. Instead of being like a digital block, by adding in this fatigue, the 20% strength means that every time I erase, I only get rid of 20% of the remaining pixels that are in place. So I can erode in steps the lighting that's at any particular location, or how dark the shadows are as well. So that sits pretty nicely. And where are we at? We're at 750. So I'm going to go ahead and put the brakes on it here. That's our pelt. So when we come back tomorrow, we'll finish the base armor. Oh, I've got a minute here I can spend. Let's clean up this flesh because it's not properly filling the space. So let's get to fill in all those gaps. It's my timer to tell me that my day is done, and it essentially is. Just going to take a moment here just to do some of this. That looks good. Face looks good. All right, that is that. So when we come back tomorrow, we'll do this. We'll do the lighting and shadow for the rest of the piece, and then we'll do a little bit of texturing, and then this will be done. And so this will, let's see, we'll probably have this done tomorrow on Thursday. Outside chance it'll be done on Friday. So that means that either on Friday or on Monday we're going to start on the farm homesteads, the maps for the farmhouses. So we've already got them built. We just have to basically furnish and decorate them. So that'll be fun. If you think this stuff is neat, stick around. We do art like this all the time. Check out our Spelljammer stream where we created a bunch of ship art and different space battle scenes. The Ravnica, the Color Mana Spellpoint variant rules has a ton of Ravnica and Magic the Gathering sort of art in it. Yeah, check out my stuff. There's a bunch of links down below to the books that I've made. Like, subscribe, bell icon, blah, blah. I'll be back tomorrow morning to work on this. I'll be back tomorrow night to work on more monk design. Friday morning, I'll be back doing this stuff. Friday afternoon at lunch, we'll be working on more monk stuff. And then on Saturday, probably more monk stuff. Then I've got Monday morning, we'll be back doing maps. And then Monday night, I've got playtesting. Once playtesting ends, I'll be back for a while doing Monday morning. Or if we switch days when we're doing playtesting, I might lose my Saturday and get my Mondays back. So Mondays and Saturdays are my two float days that I will spend playtesting. and my home table is on Wednesday, which is why I don't stream on Wednesdays. So, but that's it for now, guys. I'm gonna hit save. I'm out of here. Thank you so much. This is how colorblind artists can paint in color. It's all due to the RGB tool up there in the corner. That's my color eye. So anyway, I'll be back tomorrow. See you guys then, hopefully. Cheers.